One thing that I really wanted to hear your mindset perspective on, Nottoway Plantation, seeing that deep Louisiana, deep South, it burned down. Spiritually, what did you take from seeing that occurrence take place?
I've talked about this with several people, and I think spiritually, I think the ancestors are rumbling. I think the ancestors are speaking. And I think, quite frankly, I think the ancestors are telling us as Black people to get ready, because a time of great change and great transformation, is coming. And what's interesting is burning down these houses is almost kind of like saying, Black people, we've paid our debt to this society. Don't feel that you owe America anything, right? Because we've already paid it. And our job is to get clear and to get ready and to teach this history to our children so that they never, ever forget it. Even quite frankly, having people now to tour a plantation is really like putting our trauma on display. And so I feel like the ancestors are saying, we've had enough of this. It's time for a change.
Indeed. Isaac Song, excellent book. What inspired that, Dr. Black, you getting back into the lab, writing that beautiful art piece?
Isaac Song. I've been very concerned about Black young men who are estranged from their fathers. I've been really concerned about that because there are far, far, far too many of us. It's always a few in any society. But in fact, what's strange among most young Black men I know is to be close to their fathers. And so I've been very concerned about what has happened, what have we done, what's the problem with fatherhood, why are so many young Black boys in tension with their daddies? And so that's, I think, the impetus for this book, trying to help young Black boys see, and young Black people, period, too, including Black girls, see that sometimes we have to realize that we were conceived by wounded people. In fact, it's always true, right? Yeah. And sometimes those wounded people birthed us so that we might heal them. We're always looking for healing to come from our parents, but sometimes we're the healer of our parents.
Wow. How about that, Dr. Black? Man, one quote in particular, playing the audiobook at the gym, at the park, I was like, man, that's a bar right there. Just, taking notes. One quote in particular. How smart is it to get mad at a mountain? Either climb it or go around it. Don't spend a lifetime waiting for it to move. Only a fool does that.
Yeah.
Break that down for me, Dr.
Yeah, I think it's suggesting that we have to stop hoping our parents will get better. We have to stop hoping our parents will be different. We got to stop hoping our parents will be more excellent than they are. The truth of the matter is they're about as excellent as they're going to get. Our job is to be as excellent as we can be, and to understand that they didn't have to be perfect in order for us to have a great life. You don't need perfect parents in order to have a great life. That is simply the dream. That's the American dream. That's the whole Leave It to Beaver and Brady Bunch kind of daddies. But imperfect people absolutely can plant excellent harvests. And even when I think about it in terms of that metaphor, a seed doesn't require perfect soil. Yes, it'll still bloom in soil that was just okay, because the excellence is already in the seed. It's not in the soil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In the book, Isaac, of course, his father, them having that rift, right? He's not who his father wants him to be, but his mother was always loving, teaching him to imagine, to read, be articulate, have fun with those things. As young Black boys, young Black men now who are grown up, how do we try to, I would say, bridge that gap from our fathers? Because sometimes fathers, they can be very stoic. They can be, especially Black fathers, they can be very rough or cold, and not just simply say, son, I love you. I'm here for you.
Part of the problem is that our definition of motherhood, Caleb, and our the definition of fatherhood, they're too far apart.
Wow.
Fatherhood has never been required of fatherhood to nurture anybody or anything. Fatherhood does not require that. Motherhood requires it.
Yes, sir.
Fathers are taught to provide for families, but to provide materially, not emotionally. Fathers are taught that you protect your family, but that means protect them from outside danger, right? The problem with manhood is that there are no emotional components to it. And until we add some, we're going to keep getting what we've gotten.
Mm. Emotional intelligence, that's become like a new buzzword, I would say.
Yeah.
How do we as Black men start to create and embrace more emotional intelligence and not just always being mad or angry all
Well,
the time?
I was telling someone yesterday this is funny you're asking. One of the things that we as Black men need to do, we need to define manhood outside of women and children.
Yeah.
Like if you never marry and if you never birth any children, right? What kind of man are you? And if we can answer that, we could get something really revolutionary. We keep defining our manhood in relationship to women and children because manhood, as we know it, requires us to put somebody else in to be subject under us.
That's right.
We have to be in rulership over somebody, right? In order to understand our manhood in its fullest function, in its fullest blooming. And that's a problem.
Yes, sir.
Which really means we have a slave master manhood. That's really the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to enact the same construct of manhood that slave captors did, who bought and sold us. Yes. We're just buying and selling our women and children, right? And we're not calling it that, right? But it's the same thing. And we need a new way of understanding man. We need a new definition of manhood, right? That does not depend upon who's subject to us.
Mm-hmm. I would say, or ask you rather, in your own words, then, what exactly does a upstanding Black man and real manhood look like to you, Dr. Black?
I think that a man should define himself by his character.
That's right.
Right? Meaning his integrity, his humility, his honesty, his spirituality, his work ethic, his discipline. I think these are the things that we should use to define manhood. And quite frankly, if we did use them right now, many, many brothers are going to fall short. Many brothers are going to fall short because we're depending on things. Many Black men, I might say, are depending on things like how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, how fine is the sister standing next to you, all these things, when in truth, those things have nothing to do with manhood. That's really just performance. And so I think we need to use the character principles.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Dr. Black, again, Isaac's song, excellent book. Again, just playing it. I was getting emotional at the gym. Like I'm over here working out. I'm like, dang, I'm about to cry real quick. Like it's crazy. And again, another line. What did pain teach you? That one, that sat with me. What does that mean to you? What did pain teach you, Dr. Black?
I think it's asking, like, never to let a difficult situation make you think that the problem is another person, right? You're never really fighting another person. All struggles are really between you and your destiny. You're never fighting someone else, right? Even at school, when it's like, oh my God, I got a D out of the class. The teacher didn't like me. That's not the problem because somebody got an A. Somebody got an A.
You just weren't good enough.
It's just why wasn't it you? Yeah. But see, if one could tell themselves the truth, right, then they would come to understand that the teacher is irrelevant, right? Because even in a difficult situation, excellence is always possible, right? And so I think that question of what did pain come to teach you is really asking everybody to look at yourself and to ask yourself, where did you fall short? What do you need to do a little bit more of? It's never what somebody else did to you. We and I've fallen into this so many times. We are so quick to believe that somebody else's shortcoming is the explanation for why I don't have what I have or why I messed up. It's never the explanation.